So now I think we may be able to just kind of plow through on we've created all of our different parts for this, and now we just kind of got to make this design pull together. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a gradient, and you guys probably remember doing that in Photoshop. So we are going to do that here, and to do the gradient, you can go over to your properties panel, and under the fill button, we're just going to grab this first white to black gradient. Okay. Oops, close. That's fine. Anyway, then you're going to go up to window and scroll down to gradient, and there's a whole palette just for gradient stuff. And so this probably looks familiar to you, where you've got the options of how to change the colors here. I'm going to actually, there's probably an easier way to do this, but I am going to flip these. I'm going to leave the white on there, and I'm going to click on the black. I'm going to double click on that, and then it brings up, if you click on the little swatches, so there's like this little palette looking thing, and then there's a square that's the swatches, and I believe the eyedropper you could actually just, nope, that works in a different way. So let's just, okay, come here, double click. All right, so we're going to grab that kind of orangey brown that we used earlier. I think this is the right color. Let's double check. So no, this isn't exactly right. So we want to do kind of a not quite so orange. Let's just do a new color. So let's pick a brown, and then we'll just double click on that. And we're going to adjust it to match this a little bit better. So I just double clicked on the color swatch, and then I'm going to change the CMYK, the C to 50, the M to 70, the Y to 80, and the K to 70. Okay, we're just going to click OK. And then we've got a weird gradient going on here. Whoops. All right, I'm going to go back to this gradient thing. I'm going to click on this. I think I'm going to go ahead and change it to whatever that darker color was that we had. So you should be able to go in and change the color, but it is not really cooperating with me today. All right, we'll just do that. All right. So then you've got your gradient on there, and now you can go to your gradient tool, and you can drag. If you do shift and drag from left to right, you get this kind of a look with your gradient. Or if you shift and drag from top to bottom, it changes your gradient like that. Kind of cool. All right, so now you've got your little gradient going on. And then we're going to do working with type. And type works very similarly to Photoshop. It has the regular type tool, type on a path, and the vertical type tool. Okay, so we're just going to use the regular one. And we're going to click down in the blank area down here. And for our little cupcake thing, we're going to type in San Francisco, or you can type in your own city, whatever, it doesn't matter. Whoops. I don't know how to spell it. And then you can do select all, and obviously go grab your type tool out of your go to window and then the type. Where is it? There it is. Type, character. That's what we want. And then you can change your font from here, the size, all of those things. So let's choose. I'm going to put our font size to 14. So it works exactly the same as Photoshop. So you should be familiar with that. And then we are going to, let's see, do we want to do this right now? We're just going to leave it for that. There are ways, and we'll talk about them later, to grab fonts from the internet. It's called Typekit. And so it's a good way to kind of share fonts and also to get some kind of free fonts from Adobe where they kind of control them. And they're probably a little bit nicer quality. So we'll just use the sans serif. We'll be just fine using that. Okay, so that's pretty much all there is to the type tool. It's the same. You guys are probably your stars at that. So we're going to want to align some of our artwork, right? And it's really easy to do that in Illustrator. I'll even show you. So under Window, there is a palette called Align. These things also show up in, here, let me close some of this. We'll get a little bit of a mess going on. They also show up in the Properties panel when you start selecting more than one thing. So we're going to unlock our background here. Go to our layers and click the little unlock tool. And then we're going to do select all. You can do that in your file or edit object. Under file. It doesn't matter because we just use the key commands because we all know those, right? That's right. So Command A or Control A to select all. And then we're going to click in the Align button here. We're going to look at our little line panel. And you kind of are familiar with this from Photoshop, I hope. We didn't really go over it too much. But this is one way to make sure everything is perfectly centered or everything is aligned left or aligned right. And now that we're talking more about visual design, this is actually a very important tool. Alignment is one of the design principles that we will be kind of talking about a lot. And it's something that will really help your designs, like especially if you're having, you're struggling, it almost looks right, it's probably an alignment issue. Or it could be. It's kind of the first thing to do to kind of help clean up your files. So the first thing we're going to do is align to the artboard. Let's see, where is that? Align to artboard. So that's this little guy on the far left. So you're going to make sure that that's clicked. And then we're going to click the horizontal center align. So that's this first section is all aligning on horizontal planes. This one is all aligning on vertical planes. Okay, so we're going to align by the horizontal center. So we're clicking on that. So that kind of just pushes everything into the middle. Okay, so that kind of gives us a fresh start in a sense, because now everything is in one place. Let me close some of this stuff. And then you're going to grab, I'm going to deselect all of that. And then we're going to grab our little chef hat so we can look at our little sample. They actually have the chef hat over the A in bakery. That works too. kind of stick it in there. And then you can see they did 3 different muffins, and they have them across the bottom here. So we're going to take the first muffin. Oops. I should have shown you how to do that. So if you've got something that's got 2 different shapes like that, we can click on both of them. You can go to Object, Group, if you just want them temporarily grouped together. That means you can always undo it and redo your image. All right, so we're going to do the muffin. We're going to click Shift and drag and get our big muffin behind here. Right, and then we can do Option Duplicate. I probably should have done that when it was smaller, but we can always do Shift and drag back down. So we kind of have our muffins going on here. And now that we have the smaller one, well, let's look and see how they align those. I think I made my muffin a little bit too large in the middle. Maybe not. So we kind of have those muffined up together, and then hit Option and Shift, or Alt and Shift, and whoops. Make sure you're selected. Hit Shift and drag across, and that'll keep it in the right plane. So those will stay aligned, and you don't have to realign them. If you happen to accidentally or like boof that up, select the one that's where it belongs, and then select the other one, and then you open your Align palette, and now you want to align the objects along that bottom. So the nice thing is these all have these little images that help you kind of know what it is you're actually aligning to, because if you said, I'm going to vertical align the bottoms, that is unclear to me. So, but that's what I want. I want them to be at the same bottom as each other, and it should align to the one that you selected first. But it aligned to the bottom of the, whatchamacallit, the artboard, because that's what we have right now. You can, that's where you switch these things down here where it says align to, and you can do align to selection or align to key object. And as you get more familiar with Photoshop, those things will make, sorry, Illustrator, those things will make more sense. Okay, so that is, what did we do? Alignment. Aligning and text. There we go.